Get ready, because today we're diving headfirst into a story that, if true, will blow your mind and change everything we thought we knew about our past. Let me ask you, honestly, what if the story of Noah's Ark, which you learned in Sunday school or at church, with the animals entering 2 by 2, wasn't even close to the complete story? And what if the reason behind that gigantic flood, which cleansed the entire world, wasn't just to teach humanity a lesson, but rather to exterminate a race of giants that was corrupting the earth in such a profound way that God himself regretted creating us? If this idea of a hidden truth has already grabbed you, go ahead and hit the like button on this video to let us know we're on the right track, and that you want to unravel more mysteries like this one. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our deep investigations. The Bible talks about these giants, the NEPHILIM, but here's where it gets even crazier. If the flood killed everyone except Noah's family, how do these NEPHILIM reappear after the flood? In the book of Numbers, chapter 13, verse 33, it clearly states that the people saw the NEPHILIM again. It doesn't make sense, right? It seems like an error, a flaw in the story we were told. But what if I told you it's not an error? What if Noah's Ark wasn't just a big boat, but more like an ultra-secret time capsule, designed to protect our pure DNA from something far more sinister than just the rising water? The world before the water, giants and genetic mayhem. Imagine an ancient world, long before the cities we know today existed. A world where Earth was inhabited by beings who weren't just giant in size. They had a power and intelligence we can't even imagine. They weren't just big. They were different. Perhaps a bizarre mixture of divine beings like fallen angels, as some ancient texts suggest, and human women. And this mixture produced a NEPHILIM. The evil that caused the flood wasn't just fights and robberies, but a deep genetic corruption that was ruining humanity's original DNA. It was as if they were adulterating our source code, transforming us into something else. And the flood wasn't just a heavy rain. It was an event created to purify this genetic pool of the earth, to clean up all this mess. The Ark, in this context, was a preservation laboratory, the place to guard clean, untouched human DNA. And where does this idea come from? Many ancient texts, such as the book of Enoch, which was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, which give immense weight, describe in disturbing detail how 200 fallen angels descended, mingled with women, and produced these giants. They weren't just tall people. They were genetic abominations that were threatening the existence of pure human DNA. The Bible, in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9, says that Noah was perfect in his generations. Many scholars say this means he had pure DNA, untainted by this giant mixture. In other words, Noah wasn't chosen just for being good, but for having clean blood. The reappearance riddle. How did they hide from the flood? But the question that keeps coming back, and that keeps me up at night, is, if the flood was so devastating, if the world was washed and reset, how the heck did these giants reappear after the water receded? This makes no sense at all for the story we know. The truth, folks, is that the cleansing may not have been so complete after all. What if the legends of cities beneath the earth, of beings living in the ocean's depths, or who hid at the top of the highest mountains, aren't just fairy tales? What if these giants, or at least their code in our DNA, had some tricks up their sleeve to escape? Think with me. Secret underground cities. Forget the wooden Arkansas imagined gigantic cities, built with stones and technology we can't even dream of. Deep underground. Places capable of sustaining life for thousands of years, with perfect air, water, and food systems. You know those megalithic constructions that baffle today's engineers, like colossal stones of Baalbek or perfect interlocking in Sacsayhuaman. What if they were just the entrance to these secret worlds? Hidden, dormant DNA. What if the giant DNA wasn't destroyed, but merely hidden in our own genetic code? Recessive genes that slept for generations and, for some reason, a special event, a spiritual trigger, woke up and caused giant traits to reappear in new human lineages. Noah's purity, then, was the absence of these stored mutations. Next-level technology. What if these pre-flood people had such an advanced mastery of genetics and engineering that it would make our science look childish? They could have used preservation technologies that we are only beginning to dream of, like cryogenics or genetic manipulation, to keep their lineage alive. It's a complex web, isn't it? If you find this narrative as intriguing as we do, Share this video with your friends. Let's broaden this discussion and awaken more minds to these possibilities and see what they think about it all. The evidence, not just myths, but hidden facts. Many people think this is pure fantasy. But what if I told you that the evidence is out there, hidden in plain sight? Shocking archaeological evidence. Archaeologists have found remains of giant skeletons in various parts of the world. And what happened to them? Many simply disappeared from museums and records as if someone wanted to erase history. There are reports that the famous Smithsonian Institute in the U.S. collected hundreds of these specimens in the early 20th century and then made them vanish from the public eye. Why do you think that is? Impossible constructions. Those gigantic structures we see in photos, like those in Baalbek, with 800-ton stone blocks. Yes, you heard that right, 800 tons. Move with precision we can't replicate even today. Who built them? Giants, perhaps? Repeating stories. It's bizarre, but ancient civilizations from different parts of the world, who never had contact with each other, tell very similar stories about giants and floods. The Mesopotamians with the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Egyptians with their god king Shamsu, Native Americans with their legends of giants destroyed by divine floods. This is no coincidence. It is a shared cultural memory of a real event. How did they survive? The details that make all the difference. Let's dive deeper into the how of survival, because this is where it gets surreal. Detailed ancient documentation. Texts like the Sumerian Epic of Gilgamesh already spoke of giants taking refuge in subterranean chambers and mountain peaks during the flood. The Babylonian Epic of Atrahasis mentions the Anunnaki, beings of great stature, retreating to underground cities connected by tunnels. Berosus, a Babylonian historian, described how these giants had advanced engineering knowledge and built complex underground facilities with ventilation and storage. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? Egypt, an aerial or underwater escape. The Turin king list from ancient Egypt mentions a Shamsu, giant god kings who would have departed to the heavens during the Great Flood. This could be a metaphor. Or what if they had advanced flying vehicles or some way to escape into space? Other Egyptian texts speak of knowledge to raise the sky and separate the waters. Pure magic, or technology we don't understand. Greece and the hiding places. Greek legends from Hesiod tell the Titans who escaped Zeus's judgment by hiding in Tartarus, deep underground chambers. Apollodorus speaks of giants who survived the flood by taking refuge in mountains and caves. Could these be memories of real underground survival systems? America and underground networks. The Hopi, Native Americans, speak of giants who went to a third underworld during catastrophes on the surface. The Cherokee have detailed maps of gigantic tunnel networks in the Appalachian Mountains, with underground cities that served as refuge. And most shocking of all, modern archaeological discoveries in Tennessee and Kentucky have confirmed the existence of tunnels and chambers that match these accounts. Celts and magical submarines. Celtic chronicles tell the Fomorians, giant beings who survived the flood using magical boats that could travel underwater. Norse texts also describe giants hiding in the coils of Jormungandr, a mythical sea serpent, which could be a metaphor for underwater chambers or advanced submarine vehicles. China and underwater cities. Chinese records mention giant rulers who used dragon boats to travel underwater and took refuge in the Dragon Palace at the bottom of the sea. The Shanhai Jing text describes technologies that closely resemble our modern underwater habitats and submarines. India and space technology. Hindu texts, such as the Puranas, describe how the giant Daityas and Danavas used methods like going Patala, underground realms with advanced technology, or using Vimanas, flying vehicles, to escape to other worlds or high places above the flood. The Mahabharata has technical details of underwater cities with artificial atmospheres and recycling systems. The Middle Age is in hibernation. Medieval historians documented the discovery of giant skeletons in sealed chambers that resembled hibernation or preservation facilities with advanced mummification techniques. This absurd consistency across cultures that had no connection is the greatest proof that something real happened, and not just an invented story. Are the giants among us? Modern discoveries that prove everything. Think this is something from thousands of years ago? Think again. Evidence that giants survived continues to appear in our daily lives, validating these ancient accounts. Gigantic underground cities. The Longyu Caves in China, discovered in 1992, are one of the largest underground excavations in history, with chambers cut with precision we don't understand how it was done. They directly match descriptions of giant survival facilities. And Dr. Carmen Bolter's team found enormous tunnel networks beneath the Giza Plateau in Egypt, with giant chambers capable of sustaining entire populations. Underwater ruins. Archaeological finds beneath the sea, such as the Yanaguni Monument in Japan, show constructions with precise cuts and geometric patterns that suggest an intelligence and technology far greater than we attribute to ancient peoples. Could they be submerged colonies of giants? DNA that doesn't match. Modern science is increasingly finding evidence that our DNA has bits that shouldn't be there. Dr. Lloyd Pye's research on the star child skull revealed genetic sequences that don't match any known human group, suggesting hybridization with unknown species. And DNA analyses of elongated skulls in Peru, yes, those strange skulls, have identified genetic markers that go beyond our normal human diversity. Could these be the remnants of giant DNA? Sightings and official but secret reports. Have you ever heard of Bigfoot Sasquatch? Many researchers document creatures with characteristics that match ancient descriptions of giants, enormous size, intelligence, and superhuman abilities. And most shocking, there are classified military reports that speak of contact with beings of extraordinary size in underground facilities and remote areas. Why are these documents secret? Does the government know something we don't? Hidden technology. Believe it or not, underground exploration teams find tunnels made for beings much larger than humans, with artifacts, constructions that show the place is or was occupied. And we even have technology today, thermography, sonar, that shows underground population centers in regions linked to giant legends. The great censorship. Why don't they want you to know? But if all this is true, why don't we see it in newspapers, school books, or on TV? There is a systematic suppression of this information. Museums hide artifacts. Universities ignore anomalous research, and access to many discovery sites is restricted. This is not a coincidence. It is a deliberate campaign to keep the official story intact, protecting scientific and religious paradigms that will be shaken if the truth came out. It's as if the system knows and wants to hide this from us. The skeptics, are they right? Let's debunk. I know many will say, that's crazy, it's a conspiracy. Let's confront the skeptics' arguments head on. The flood killed everything. They say the Bible is clear. Everything that breathed died. But the Hebrew term kol, all, often refers to all in a specific region, not the entire world. Genesis chapter 41, verse 57, for example, speaks of famine over all the earth, but referred to a region. The flood could have been a regional purification where genetic corruption was most concentrated. Impossible technology for ancients. They say cryogenics and genetic engineering were impossible at that time. But this assumes that pre-flood technology was primitive. What if it wasn't? What if they had access to much greater knowledge? Megalithic constructions prove they had capabilities we don't understand. They're just myths. But how is it that so many myths from different cultures have such specific and consistent details about the survival of giants and their hiding places? Myths usually vary greatly. The precision of the details suggests a real memory, not just an invention. No archaeological evidence. This is the weakest argument. As we've seen, there's evidence, but it is suppressed. And the Earth is enormous, with most of its subsurface and seabed unexplored. That's where these hiding places would be. Giants couldn't reappear due to genetics. They say such a small population of survivors wouldn't have the genetic diversity to continue. But what if giants had lifespans of thousands of years and much greater reproductive capacities? Or what if their DNA had been stored and used to recreate the lineage? The great truth, how everything connects and what it means for you, sparkles when we put all the pieces together. Academic research, ancient texts, cultural legends, modern discoveries, and the ways they could have acted, a clear and powerful picture emerges. The giants did not disappear in flood. They survived using advanced strategies and continue to influence human history, often in hidden ways. Reflection for daily life and life lessons. This is not just a fascinating story about the past. It invites us to a deep reflection on our present and future. Question the official narrative. Just as we question the simple story of Noah's Ark, we are challenged not to passively accept everything we are told. Develop your critical thinking, research, investigate. Many truths may be hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. The importance of integrity, pure DNA metaphorically. The purity of Noah's DNA can teach us about the importance of maintaining our personal integrity. In a world where corruption of values, information, principles seems to spread, preserving our essence, our ethics, and our authenticity is fundamental. Notice the hidden influences. The idea of giants infiltrating and controlling information can alert us to the existence of forces, not necessarily literal giants, but ideologies, interests, or power groups that shape our perception of reality. Being aware of these influences makes us more conscious and less susceptible to manipulation. Seek knowledge and wisdom. The constant search for information, the study of ancient texts, and openness to new perspectives, like those we explore today, enrich our worldview and equip us to make more informed decisions. Be prepared for change. If history repeats itself, and if the days of Noah can return, it reminds us of the importance of resilience, adaptability, and preparation, be it physical, mental, or spiritual. Folks, this isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a call for us to open our eyes, question everything we are told, and seek the truth behind the veils. What will you do with this information? Will you ignore it, or will you start digging deeper? Leave your comments down below. What do you think of all this? Your perspective is crucial to enrich this discussion. And if you made it this far and like what you saw, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more videos that will make you think outside the box. Until next time, and may the search for truth guide us.